Hey everyone, this is Rick. When I wash a car, I take my wash pads, mitts, whatever you have. These are wash pads that have the sponge inside of them. Rinse them out well, hang them up, let them drip dry. When I store them, I keep them inside the wash bucket. I just layer one on top of another one. I don't want to put them in there wet because here in Central Virginia we get extremely humid in the summer, and if I put them in there wet they will grow mold, and I don't want mold to grow on them. So I put them up here, I let them drip dry, and it typically takes a couple days till it is done and dry. I'm going to show you what I've learned to do and the reasoning behind it. You can see two different wash mitts. The left one is a little bigger, it is a little heavier right now, and that's the one I'm going to do this with. But as you can see, the water comes down, gravity pulls the water down, and the water won't fall off of that wash mitt until the drop is big enough that it's heavy enough to fall. As this drains down and the top dries out and the bottom gets wet, the bottom will stay wet because the water is accumulating down at the bottom and isn't heavy enough to fall off. So what I've figured out to do is I'm going to make that water have an area to go further on down the road. I take a paper towel, and I simply clamp it to the bottom of my wash mitt. And now you can see the paper towel is getting soaked, and what that is doing is the water that's falling down to the bottom of the wash pad is now going instantly into the paper towel, and the paper towel will get soaked, and then the paper towel will start dripping. What that will do is, on the right hand wash mitt, you can see it's already slowed down. It waits for a drop and then it drips. On the left pad, it's going to wick its way all the way down. It's going to drop from the bottom. It's going to constantly pull that moisture all the way down and actually off of the pad and into that paper towel. And that'll be a whole lot drier. We'll come back in about an hour and see just how dry it is. All right, it has been 2 3/4 hours, and I want to show you what's going on. The top of the pad is starting to dry. The bottom is staying very wet. And what's happening is the surface tension of the water is keeping it collected, and it wants to stay collected as a drop until it gets heavy enough to drop and fall down. So the water is accumulating there, and the very bottom is not really drying out because that area down there is staying very wet. On this one, the top is more on the dry side, and where the water wants to collect on the bottom of the pad, because of the paper towel, all that water is wicking all the way down to the bottom of here and dripping off. So this is a whole lot drier, and all of this will continue to dry because it's wicking off of the pad and coming down to here. So we'll come back in the morning and we'll see just how dry both of these are. It has been 12 hours since I first put those up there and started this. The paper towel is still rather wet. The interesting part though is the pad itself is dry up here. It's very dry also down here. There's no water on my hand. And if I come over here, you can see it is still dripping wet. So we'll let this go a little while longer, but that proves my point. This one it's a bigger wash pad with more sponge inside it. It was heavier from the start because it's larger with the bigger pad. It's still not perfectly dry, but the whole thing is dry up here. It has wicked all the water down onto the paper towel. This one is still wet. It's dry up here, but it's still wet from here on down, and I wouldn't want to put that away in the wash bucket yet. All right, here we are 18 hours later. The paper towel is dry. Up here is a little bit damp yet. The pad is completely dry. It's even dry all the way down here. That's dry there. It's still wet here. In fact, water just flicked on me. This is still sopping with water. You can see how much is still here on this one. So all I'm trying to say is, if you want anything like this to dry faster, clip a paper towel to it, let it hang there. It will draw all the water down. It will continue to wick into the paper towel. Paper towel also gives it more surface area for the water to dissipate. But 18 hours later, this one is dry. I feel comfortable putting that back in my wash bucket. This one is not. So if I didn't do this, this would be sitting out here another day or 2 or 3. Again, I know that's very long. Sorry about that, but I hope this helps you. Bye.